Welcome to CivilNet. My guest today is Katharina Roters. She is an artist-photographer based in Budapest in Hungary. With Sarhat Petrosyan, she co-edited the book Utopia and Collapse, Rethinking Metsamor, the Armenian Atomic City. Their book documents the rise and fall of Metsamor city, which was described during the Soviet Union as having a great future. Welcome, Katharina.
Hi.
So the book brings together an oral history of Metsamor and art photographic research. What is so special about Metsamor?
Well, in fact, the most special thing about Metsamor is that it was designed by one architect. So the city was built, started to build in the late 60s for the nuclear power plant. And it was designed by the architect Paitjan. So the whole idea, the whole vision, let's say this utopistic idea, was created by one architect. He designed from the big, huge singular building like the sport complex or the cultural house, until really the whole social buildings, until the yards, even the ground of the courtyards he designed. So this is the special idea about Metsamor.
And what was the final goal of this construction? What was the main idea?
Well, the main idea was very simple, that the workers for the nuclear power plant needed a space to live, and it was a kind of atomograd. Yeah, I mean, you have this type of cities in the Soviet Union.
And personally, how did you end up making a book about a city that is almost unknown outside of Armenia?
Well, I met Sarhat, with whom we made this book together. We met in 2014. And there he showed me Metsamor. We made a trip there, and I liked it very much. I thought it's a very interesting place, and the whole narrative, this whole idea, because it's a very rare thing that one architect is constructing really a whole town. I liked it. I thought it's a very interesting thing, and then we decided that we have to try to make a research, and out from this research that we make a book.
And how long have you been working? Since 2014 until?
The whole working, the most of the working process was in the last two and a half years. But Sarhat started this process earlier, almost when he was in the university. He started a research project about Metsamor. So the process on what he worked on this project, Rethinking Metsamor, is quite longer.
According to your point of view, what was interesting architecturally talking?
Well, at first I just shooted the town. So in the nuclear power plant I was not, and I guess it's quite difficult also to get permission to shoot even in the town. It was in the beginning I needed to meet the mayor and the head of the police, so it was not so I needed the permission to allow to shoot there. Well, in fact, for me the most interesting was this social environment on one hand. I'm a photographer. I'm more interested in this kind of social structures. Also the way how buildings are changing by the inhabitants. What we have in Armenia, it's a quite interesting topic. That the inhabitants changing their so they change the architectural environment to their own needs. It's like a kind of the balconies. Let's say this is one of it's like parasites. They change everything, or they occupy part of the street and they build they extended their housing. Or for example, in Metsamor is a building what is a former dormitory. So when the workers start to work in the nuclear power plant and they arrived in the town, until they were provided with an apartment, they stayed in this dormitory. And the dormitory has two entrances, two staircases, and the long corridors, and you can go through, yeah? So you can enter one staircase, you go through the whole building, and then on the other staircase you go down. And for example, there are several corridors where the inhabitants in the middle, they occupy the corridor and you can't go anymore through, so there are rooms, yeah? So things like that was for me very interesting. But then, of course, as I already said, it was a very interesting trying for me to find this idea, this vision Michaelian had in his design, that really from the huge buildings until the little details, also the lamps, everything.
What was his main idea?
It has a very important meaning, yeah, for the workers of the nuclear power plant, and it was very provided with all security and all. It was a closed town by this time. Also now there is in the two entrances of Metsamor is a little place where police is staying and looking, but also with all what you could buy at that time. Metsamor was very advanced in this time, so things you could bought in Metsamor you could not bought in Yerevan. So it was a kind of special place, yes, who really showed this kind of utopistic dream of the Soviet ideology.
So the utopistic dream, as utopia is one of the adjectives you use, the noun that you use. The first noun actually in your book, Utopia and Collapse. How would you describe the Soviet Union utopia regarding Metsamor? When you see the architectural structure, is it about order? Is it about organizing everything correctly? Is it about following the line?
So far I understood, Metsamor was completely, of course, everything was planned. So the idea of everybody is equal, yeah? Everybody is living in the same social structure. Of course, at first was the idea. And Michaelian built it, designed. There are two types of social houses. One is 5-story and one is 9-story, but mostly are 5 stories, and they are in chain. And they, Michaelian designed them that the courtyards are closed and in the same time open. So the chains have so kind of middle connecting elements where you can go through. So what means that you have a huge courtyard in between this change, but but you always can go through this connected elements through. So you have a very open and closed structure at the same time. What gives a very it's a very good atmosphere. So when you are, let's say, for the inhabitants, yeah, this kind of structure. Then, of course, everything was completely planned. Yeah, the leisure. They had a big sport complex with the recreation. There was a big urban lake, what was an artificial lake with a platform where the view of the nuclear power plant. And on the other side, when you turn, it's Ararat. So the town is, let's say, faced between this nuclear power plant looking to Ararat, and on the other side you have Ararat. Yeah? So it's a long, it's a kind of long town, and the side from Ararat is absolutely, so it's sunny. You have one sunny side and one dark side. Then you had to have a cultural house, the schools, music schools. So everything was absolutely planned.
It was a comfortable place. It was made to be a comfortable place for the workers.
They tried to do the best for the workers from the nuclear power plant. Was a quite important thing. Yeah.
When we talked, you said that Metsamor has something timeless. It's a timeless city. And through your photographies, how do you inject this timeless?
Well, I said this, or this was an idea, because I mean, it's also reflected in the title, yeah, the Utopia and the Collapse. So when we look, the town started to build in the late 60s, and after the earthquake, 86, they stopped building the town. The town was half built, and so it's 2 decades. So let's say the town, in fact, has no history. The town is so the rise and the fall somehow it's happened like in the same time. So the time span is very, very small, and you can feel this in the town. So it's not just that the town is half built, and let's say the plan. The original master plan had shifted several times because the town is just the half constructed. Let's say, for example, the center, where Michaelian planned the center, it was not really built, so the center shifted to another part. So the town had several changes inside, of course, and the habitants changed also the towns to their need, or this, let's say, this torso what stayed. So this is one feeling what you have in the town, but there are still living quite much people in this town. So and there are a lot of kids, and so when you are there, you don't have the feeling that it's an abandoned town, but at the same time, you feel that it's a skeleton, what is, let's say, somehow a torso and left like this, yeah. And of course, a lot of places are empty and in very bad condition. So it's a kind of very strange mix at the same time, yeah, from living and emptiness. So yeah, it's a bit like timeless. So time stopped somehow, and I tried to. So my aim, or what I tried, I shoot it quite a long time and often and in several seasons. Was at first, of course, it was this architectonically idea, what I tried to capture and to find a visual language for it. This kind of all-in-one, we called it with Sarhat, yes, that you have really this idea from the huge to the small, yeah. This structure, I tried this repetition. I tried to find the code, let's say like this, yeah.
Thank you very much for this talk, Katharina. Thank you for watching, and continue to follow CivilNet.